For the first time since 2016, the Los Angeles Rams finally used another first-round pick. The last guy they took in the first round was Jared Goff, and that wasn't even under Sean McVay. That was actually under Jeff Fisher. So this was the first time Sean McVay ever used a first-round pick, and they used it on edge rusher Jared Verse. Obviously, when you lose a player as dominant as a guy like Aaron Donald on defense, it's going to affect your entire team. But the Rams did end up picking 4 times in the first 3 rounds of the draft. They took Jared Verse in the first round, they took Braden Fisk in the second round, and then with the 3rd round pick, they took Cameron Kitchens. And obviously, like I did in the last rebuild that I did with the Saints, I made all of these rookies a star depth trait because they are going to be the key point of this rebuild as we try to get Stafford one more ring before he has to retire. But obviously, the draft is not the only way they were able to add some more help to this team. In free agency, they ended up signing Tre'Davious White, who will come in as a 91 overall superstar X Factor, and they also signed Cameron Curl away from Washington. I mentioned the Rams ended up with 4 picks in the first 3 rounds of the draft. Well, we already saw the defensive players they took, but the one offensive player they took is running back Blake Corum. As of recording this, they've also just signed Boston Scott away from Philadelphia. I am an Eagles fan, and it sucks to see him go, but I'm glad he may get some playing time here. But obviously the main running back is going to be Kyren Williams. The only other change I've made in this franchise is I've kind of dipped Matthew Stafford into the fountain of youth for a second, because when you first start up a franchise here, he is 35 years old. I was afraid he was going to retire because we're only going to do a 3-year rebuild as opposed to a 5-year rebuild. I bumped him down to 33 years old. Hopefully it doesn't enrage anybody or piss anybody off. It's just something I kind of have to do, otherwise I feel like he may retire in the middle of this. Now, because the rebuild really starts right here, I am going to sign some players. Now, as of recording this, I believe this free agency list is accurate. If anybody gets signed before this comes out or right as it comes out or whatever, I do apologize. But I want to get some players added to this team to try to win now. The first guy we're going to bring in is David Bakhtiari to hopefully keep Matt Stafford alive this season at left tackle. Now, generally in these rebuilds, I will go ahead and make the defense a 4-3 scheme. But I decided this time we're going to keep it a 3-4 and see how well that goes. But we will need another middle linebacker, which is why we're going to bring in Deion Jones. Now, is this one going to be a super realistic signing? Probably not. I highly doubt Xavier Howard's going to end up signing with the Rams, but that is who I'm going to pick up here to help our depth at corner. And this man's already won a ring here once. Why not bring back Odell Beckham just to help out our receiving core just a bit? Alright, real quick, we may not need to keep Odell Beckham because I just got a dev trade upgrade for Tutu Atwell in training camp. I will end up doing a handful of these every single season, probably the same ones that you see here just because those are my favorite ones to do and they take like the least amount of time for me. But getting that upgrade, I need to go compare Tutu Atwell to Odell Beckham. Because if there is any chance I can actually develop Tutu Atwell in this series, I'm absolutely going to. He has a bit higher speed. His catching is not near as high as Odell Beckham's. Odell's up to an 89 catching. What about route running and stuff like that? The release on Tutu Atwell is really, really bad. So I think for right now, we are going to keep Odell Beckham just because we are trying to win now. But maybe Tutu Atwell will get a few more upgrade points throughout the season. We do need to set a season goal here for the first season of this rebuild. And I think it's just going to be to make the playoffs. I feel like that's a solid place to start. I am really glad to see that the strength of this class is left and right tackle because that is something we are definitely going to need because David Bakhtiari is only on a 1-year contract, but our national scout will be a defensive tackle and offensive tackle scout. Then we have an offensive tackle and defensive end, safety and wide receiver, outside linebacker and defensive end and offensive tackle. At the top of the class right now is Wesley Norton, a quarterback out of North Carolina, but there is a left tackle up here. Alright, I see 3 left tackles here in the top 10 and a right tackle right outside the top 10. So we should have a pretty good selection to take an offensive lineman if we really want one in the first round. For this rebuild, I wanted to do something a little bit different than I did last time. I believe in the last rebuild I did Dallas and Cleveland for the offensive and defensive playbooks, but this time I'm using Kansas City and Baltimore. But now it is time to see if we can get off to a good start here in this rebuild. So the first game underneath this franchise rebuild is against the Seattle Seahawks. And will we pick up a win here? Yes, we will, by a final score of 7-6. This would be the game that people talk about whenever they mention defensive shootouts. We scored in the first quarter, and then they got 2 field goals, one in the third and one in the fourth. And that ends up being your final score. Stafford goes for 195 and a pick, and Geno Smith goes for 124 and a pick. Alright, we got off to a good start getting a win over Seattle in week 1. Can we pick up a win over the 49ers, which is probably going to be a much tougher test? Alright, just kind of a completely opposite game than the first one. We pick up the win 35-21, so we are now 2-0. And Stafford went for 297 yards and 3 touchdowns, and we picked off Brock Purdy twice. Now, from this point in the season, we are just going to jump to the midway point and see exactly how well the rest of the season has gone. Following our 2-0 start, we went 2-3, so we're now 4-3 here at week 8 as we get to take on the 5-1 Dallas Cowboys. We have the number 4 offense in the league and the number 22 defense. What are we in points per game for both of those here? Offensive points per game, we're 15. Defensive points per game, we are number 13. Stafford has thrown for about 1,900 yards, 14 touchdowns, but 6 interceptions in only 7 games. Running the ball, Kyren Williams has 400 yards and 3 scores. Blake Corum has found the end zone 3 times. And receiving, our leading receiver is Tyler Higbee, which is probably going to be something that happens with the Kansas City playbook. And because he is our leading receiver, I am already going to move off the Kansas City playbook. We only have 3 seasons to do this. I would really rather use the superstar depth trait Puka Nacua and the X Factor and Cooper Kupp. So let's just go ahead and move it back to the Dallas playbook. I know that one works, and we'll simulate the rest of the season. Well, I can see we got absolutely slaughtered in week 18, 55-14 by San Francisco. However, though, we did manage to win the division to make the playoffs with an 8-9 record. Stafford finishes with 4,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. On the ground, Kyren Williams did break 1,000 yards and got 9 touchdowns. Blake Corum ran in for 8 scores. And then receiving, Cooper Kupp. Alright, so switching over to the Dallas playbook definitely helped our offense a bit more, I think. He goes for 1,000 yards and only 4 touchdowns, though. Puka Nacua caught 5 touchdowns, Tyler Higbee got 5, and Odell Beckham came away with 7, which leads the team. Now, what about the defense? How did that go? Ernest Jones led the team in tackles with 113, and sacks. Jared Verse, as a rookie, came away with 9 sacks. I do love to see that. And interceptions, Deion Jones led the team with 4. Unfortunately, though, in the first round of the playoffs, we do get matched up with the Dallas Cowboys, which is a pretty broken team in simulation. But let's see if we can pick up a win here. If it's close to the end, we will actually watch it. Well, we do get to jump into this game, but it is not a great situation here. We are down by 7 from our own 1-yard line with about 2.5 minutes to go. Luckily, that run gets us up to the 6-yard line, so now a 2nd and 4 with 2:10. Stafford back in shotgun. We'll drop back to pass. He's going to throw this over the middle. That is going to be dropped, I believe, by Blake Corum. That brings up a 3rd and 4 for the Rams offense. Stafford will drop back to pass. A quick throw will be caught, I believe, by Puka Nacua, and that should take us down to the 2-minute warning. Stafford now under center from the 14 will drop back. Another quick throw. That one caught by Tyler Higbee. That's just going to be a 4-yard play. We might need to move down the field a bit faster than that. A 2nd and 6. He'll drop back to pass. A quick throw downfield again, and that was going to be incomplete, intended for Odell Beckham. Now on a 3rd and 6. 1:31 to play. At our own 17-yard line, Stafford with another quick throw. It's caught by Higbee for the 1st down, and he'll get brought down at our 38-yard line. Running a no-huddle offense now, not wanting to burn any of our 3 timeouts just yet. Stafford back in shotgun, will draw back to pass again. He's going to fire this over the middle. That is caught, I believe, by Blake Corum, and that's going to be a 5-yard play. Another no-huddle offense here. 50 seconds to go in the game. From the 43-yard line, Stafford will drop back. It's a throw to the outside. That is caught along the sideline, and forced out of the 47 is Odell Beckham. Now we have 45 seconds to play. Stafford back in shotgun again. We'll take the snap. Stand back in the pocket. He's going deep downfield, and he's got a man. That's Puka Nacua all the way to the 23, and we burn our first timeout. 41 seconds to go in the game. Stafford from under center. A quick throw caught by, I believe, Odell Beckham. That's going to be an 8-yard play, and we burn our second timeout. 37 seconds remaining. Stafford back in shotgun from the 15-yard line. He'll take the snap, stay in the pocket, dropping farther back, throw to the outside, caught along the sideline, and a 1st down out of bounds at the 11 is Puka Nacua. Now 32 seconds left in regulation. Stafford out of shotgun, a quick throw to the outside. That's going to be caught, but they're not going to get out of bounds. Are we going to have to burn our final timeout here? We will at 25 seconds. Trying to keep our season alive, Stafford is in shotgun. For a 2nd and 10, he'll take the snap. Standing in the pocket, he's going to finally throw this one to the end zone, but overthrows Cooper Kupp. That one is an absolutely brutal miss by Stafford. 3rd and 10 from the 11. In a 5-wide set, he'll take the snap. He's going to the back of the end zone again, and it bounces off the bottom bar. 16 seconds to go, and we face a 4th and 10. Season on the line right here. Will our 8-9 season stay alive? Still at the 11-yard line, out of shotgun. Stafford will drop back. He's going to the end zone. He finds his man. Touchdown, Odell Beckham. As we now jump ahead into overtime, Dallas has driven all the way down to our 23-yard line. They have the first possession of the overtime period, and Dak will do a handoff up the middle, and that's going to be Zeke, and he might be gone, and he is. So our season will come to an end here in overtime. Wait, no, I'm dumb. I forgot it's not sudden death in the playoffs for a touchdown. So we have a chance to respond. Stafford out of shotgun. Will go downfield. He finds Odell Beckham across the 40-yard line all the way to the 42. He'll take the snap and look to go downfield one more time. Standing in the pocket. He's going to load up and go deep downfield. Does he have a man? It's one-on-one coverage, and it's going to fall incomplete. I believe that one was intended for Odell Beckham. He already has 10 catches for 102 yards today. He has shown up huge. On the next play, we'll do a throw out to Blake Corum, who will spin out one man, and he'll juke out another and get the first down to the Cowboys' 47. Stafford back in shotgun again with 5:48 to play here in overtime. He'll run the play action. Now Stafford looking to go deep downfield, and that is going to end the season as Trayvon Diggs comes away with a pick. And is anybody going to bring him down? I don't believe so. They're going to end this on a walk-off pick 6 when he could have just gone down. So despite this game going into overtime, your final score is 48-35. That's probably one of the few times an overtime game has ended in a 2-possession score. But either way, our 8-9 season has officially come to an end. The Cowboys would end up going all the way to the Super Bowl, but then they lose to the Baltimore Ravens 21-18, and we get none of the player awards this year. Now, as we head into this offseason, there are 6 players that are ready to negotiate their contracts. We have $55 million in cap right now, and most of these guys are going to be the guys that I just signed, and I might want to bring a couple of them back. They don't seem to be doing that bad here. Odell Beckham has started to regress a bit. We're going to see what other options we have in free agency. But the one guy I do want to try to bring back is Xavier Howard. And I am perfectly fine giving him a 1-year offer. He has a lot of interest in coming back, and he will be returning. And you know what? David Bakhtiari, we're going to give you another 1-year contract. Yeah, we're burning through a lot of our cap here, but he is a 90 overall superstar depth trait. Really not going to find anything better in the draft. So let's see if he's going to come back, and he will be returning as well. The only player we're going to cut here is left tackle Joseph Noteboom. We would save $10 million. We'd also eat a $10 million penalty. So in total, we free up $10 million of cap space, and that's really not worth a 71 overall player, so we're going to go ahead and cut him. I really don't think I'm going to be too active in this year's free agency, though, because there's not really a lot of guys here that could immediately help us. I am going to try to get defensive tackle Michael Pierce, but that's really going to be it. Obviously, I don't really expect him to be Aaron Donald, but at least we have a better defensive tackle now because Michael Pierce has decided to sign with us, and like I said, this is going to be really the only guy we sign. As you most likely know at this point, the final mock draft in every single offseason is exactly how the board will fall. And right now, we are mocked to take a defensive tackle. You'll see here in a minute as we get down closer to our pick. I don't think that's really the route I'm going to go because we just signed Michael Pierce. I'll probably look to help out the team elsewhere. With our first round pick, we're going to take an edge rusher. Defensive end Russell Corbett out of Auburn with A block shed, B power move, and A tackle. Also comes in with B awareness and A play rec. So Corbett, welcome to Los Angeles with a hidden depth trade. And now here in the second round, we're going to take a middle linebacker and Marco Hayden out of Texas A&M. A block shed, A pursuit, A awareness, B play rec. Yeah, I think this guy's going to be pretty solid. Well, he does have solid speed. He has poor acceleration, but I'm going to hope he's good enough to really make up for that. But Marco Hayden will also have a hidden depth trade. If you've never seen any of my rebuilds, the way I generally do things is I make picks in the first 3 rounds and then I just simulate the rest and let the computer draft the rest of my class. Well, I'm going to use the 3rd round pick here and trade it to Philadelphia, pick up a 3rd round pick next year and a 4th and a 7th for this year. But the other trades really don't look that enticing at all. So that is why I'm going to go ahead and take this because there's really no other player that I would want. Looking at this draft class, we got a 73 overall right end, a 74 overall middle linebacker. And then we would trade our 3rd round pick and the computer would then take over, take a 68 overall receiver, a 69 overall middle linebacker, a 68 overall corner, a 68 overall quarterback, and a 67 overall corner. I'm not going to lie, a 68 overall quarterback in the 6th round is not a bad pick. The best player in the class went number 1 overall, and he is by far the best player at an 82 overall. A safety out of Oklahoma State, Lyle Wolford, went to the Dolphins. As I'm looking around the NFL, I see the Eagles have several outside linebackers on their roster that are all pretty serviceable. I think I want to try to trade for one of these guys. The Eagles were rumored to be shopping Josh Sweat in real life in the last offseason, so I don't think it's too crazy that they would still be looking to shop him, especially with Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff both at the same position right there. And there are 3 offers that they're willing to take. They're not getting Jared Verse. In this offer, they want a second, a third, and 2 7s, or in this one, they want a first and a 6th. I'm going to go ahead and take this trade. We don't give up a first round pick, and we pick up a really good outside linebacker, or at least a really serviceable outside linebacker. Well, I guess I lied during the last training camp because I ended up doing a few more drills this year. I went ahead and took care of target passing with Matthew Stafford to get him up back to an 80 overall because he's regressed just a bit. I did rushing attack with Kyron Williams, wide receiver battle with Tutu Atwell, red zone attack with Puka Nacua, trying to get him a superstar X Factor. Unfortunately, it did not happen. I did the trench battle with our brand new right end, and then I did the DB battle with Cameron Kitchens. The next draft class has a strength of wide receiver, corner, and left tackle. So I've got a scout that's a corner and a wide receiver expert. Then we got a wide receiver and safety, offensive and defensive tackle, defensive end and outside linebacker, and defensive end and defensive tackle. This year's board looks kind of similar to last year's, a little bit at least. They have 2 right tackles in the top 5, 2 left tackles right outside the top 5. They have 1 more left tackle right at number 10, and then several defensive ends here. But it did say that receiver was one of the strengths, and there's no one projected in the top 5. There's one in round 1, and then several in rounds 1 to 2. Actually, a lot in rounds 1 to 2. All right, maybe there is some talent here. We are once again going to set our goal to just make the playoffs. Obviously, last year we went 8-9, and we would not have made the playoffs if the rest of our division wasn't complete garbage. Before we simulate anything here in the second season of this rebuild, I do want to see how bad Stafford actually regressed after the season. And it looks like he lost 2 to throw power, 1 to throw accuracy deep, 2 to throw accuracy short, 1 to injury, 2 to throwing under pressure, 3 to awareness, but more importantly lost 4 to throw accuracy mid. So here are his current ratings, and I guess we'll find out if that's good enough to get us a decent record. I mean, around him, I feel like he has quite a bit of talent. Kyron Williams is an 86 overall. We've given him a pretty solid offensive line. Tyler Higbee is now a superstar dev trait. Puka Nacua is now listed as our wide receiver 1, but Tutu Atwell is up to an 80 overall right now. So we still have some pretty solid receivers despite not bringing back Odell Beckham. Oh boy, this was not the start we had in mind here. A 1-5 start to the season. Offensive points per game, we are number 13, but defensive points per game, we are number 31. What is going on with the defense right now? That is absolutely abysmal. And through 6 games, I feel like Stafford's not even having a bad year. 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. On the ground, Kyron Williams, 300 yards, 7 touchdowns. Blake Corum's ran in for a couple. And then receiving Tutu Atwell with 499 yards and 2 scores. Cooper Kupp has yet to find the end zone all season. Tyler Higbee has 1 touchdown and Puka Nacua has 6. What's going on over with the defense? It looks like Ernest Jones is leading the team in tackles. In sacks, we're really not getting any. Russell Corbett, the rookie, has 2. And interceptions, we only have 2 on the season. 1 from Darius Williams and 1 for Tre'Davious White. Well, I won't lie to you guys, it looks like Season 2 is kind of going to be a wash. Let's just go ahead and go to the playoffs and see how bad we actually were. We actually somewhat managed to turn it around. We finished 8-9 for the 2nd straight year. Let's go take a look at the schedule and see exactly what happened here. I mean, we won the division in the last season, so I guess we would have technically had a harder schedule for this year, but a 1-4 start before the bye week, then another 3 losses in a row, but then we ripped off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in a row before dropping the last 2 games of the season. So even right here, there was a chance after that horrible start we could have made the playoffs, but then we lost to the Dolphins and the Eagles. And Stafford really did not have a bad year. 4,300 yards, 26 touchdowns, to 7 interceptions. Kyron Williams over 1,100 yards and 17 scores. Blake Corum found the end zone 6 times. Receiving, Tutu Atwell had a breakout year, 1,300 yards and 6 touchdowns. Puka Nacua, 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp, though, is starting to regress, it looks like. 700 yards, 2 scores. Tyler Higbee got a few touchdowns, and Kyron Williams caught 5. Over on defense, Ernest Jones led the team in tackles by a lot here. And sacks, Jared Verse got 5.5, which led the team, but that's not a ton of sacks. And interceptions, Darius Williams got 3, and Tre'Davious White got 3, along with Ernest Jones getting 2 and Quentin Lake getting 2, our backup safety. I didn't look at this at the end of the last season, but in offensive points per game, we finished as number 12, but in defensive points per game, allowing 25.4 points a game, we finished number 28. I have no idea why this is such a weird looking Super Bowl to me, but Green Bay beats the Miami Dolphins 28-16. Didn't the Dolphins just have the number 1 pick in the draft? So they went from having the number 1 pick to losing in the Super Bowl. I would say that's a pretty solid turnaround despite losing. As expected, Matthew Stafford has regressed just a bit more here. He has lost 1 to throw accuracy mid, 1 to awareness, 2 to throw accuracy deep, 1 to throw in on the run, 2 more to throw accuracy deep, 3 to throw accuracy short, and 4 more to awareness. So in total, he lost 5 awareness points. That is awesome. So I said at the start of the episode I was going to go 3 seasons with Matthew Stafford to try to win a Super Bowl, and that's exactly what we're going to finish up here. So this will be the final offseason of this rebuild, and we come in with $89 million, but 15 players that are ready to negotiate. I honestly think this is a really easy call. It looked like he had a fantastic year, so we are going to bring back Tutu Atwell, a 3-year offer. And will he take that? Yes, he will. Once again, David Bakhtiari just wants a 1-year offer. I am willing to give that to him. Will he take it, though? And yes, he will. Ernest Jones is wanting a 5-year contract. He's 25 years old, 84 overall, a star dev trait. He's led our team in tackles the last couple seasons. Let's go ahead and give him a 5-year offer. We'll see if he takes it. And yes, he will. So far, we haven't lost anybody. Our starting right tackle, Rob Havenstein, only wants a 1-year deal, but does not have a ton of interest in coming back here. We'll offer this to him, and he is not interested in signing. And we're also not going to be bringing back Xavier Howard. At an 84 overall, he's starting to regress. We're going to see if we can get any better at corner. Bobby Brown III, 73 overall, kind of buried. Everyone else here will be going into free agency. Well, unfortunately, once again, there was no immediate impact that I'm really seeing in free agency, at least not a lot of guys that could. I have thrown out a couple offers, though. We're going to try to get Garrett Bowles and Michael Carter here. Well, Michael Carter, the corner, not the running back. So let's see if we can get both of those, and they're both gone because they have both joined us. Now, Bowles will end up playing right tackle instead of left tackle. Well, in the final draft of this rebuild, we're going to be picking at number 13, but try to remember we have already traded our 2nd and our 3rd round picks to Philadelphia. But also, apparently a trade that probably happened in real life that I'm not remembering off the top of my head, we do own the Eagles' 3rd round pick for some reason. And with our 1st round pick, I'm going to take tight end Shane Walther. Now, I will say, besides the last rebuild where I was able to draft a superstar X Factor that was like a generational talent, I generally don't have great luck drafting tight ends. So this guy to me looks like a round 1 pick. A awareness, A break tackle, B catching traffic, A catching, A deep route, D impact block. His injury is an F, which is kind of concerning. But then his speed is elite, his acceleration is good, and he is also 6'6", 235. So Shane Walther, welcome to Los Angeles with a hidden dev trade. And ignore me, I'm completely dumb. I forgot I made the trade to get the Eagles' 3rd round pick. I don't know how in the world I forgot that. And I know this is the final draft of this rebuild, but I am going to trade this pick to Minnesota and pick up a 3rd, 5th, and 2 6s next year. The main reason I did that is because I do plan to try to make some trades before we actually start this final season. But in the draft recap, we get a 74 overall tight end with Shane Walther, and then the computer would take a 67 overall corner, a 70 overall receiver in the 5th round, that's not bad, a 66 overall center, and a 74 overall corner in the 6th round. That is incredible. This doesn't really appear to have been an elite draft class, which is kind of the feeling I was getting. There is no one even above a 77 overall. I have a feeling some Rams fans are not going to be okay with this, but with the last season Cooper Kupp just had, he is clearly starting to regress in this universe. So with an 84 overall Cooper Kupp and a handful of draft picks, he is getting sent to the Washington Commanders in exchange for wide receiver Terry McLaurin. And on the next trade, we're 100% about to mortgage this team's entire future to make a Super Bowl run one more time. We have to trade 2 first-round picks, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 6th to the Dallas Cowboys, but we get DeMarcus Lawrence. But now we get to set our final season goal, and there is only one goal to set, and that is to win the Super Bowl, especially because if we don't, pretty sure Stafford's either going to retire or leave this team, and we have no future first round picks right now. Here is your final offense for this rebuild. Matthew Stafford is down to a 78 overall. Kyren Williams now an 88 overall. I'm kind of surprised after the season he had, he is not at least a star dev trait. But then we have Puka Nacua and Terry McLaurin, two superstar X-Factor receivers. Tutu Atwell is an 82 overall. And then we drafted Walther in the first round to hopefully replace Tyler Higbee. Now, the defense was the absolute worst part of this team last year. I believe they were number 28 in defensive points per game, if I remember correctly. So we add a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, and then we also add Michael Carter in free agency. I'm going to hope that was enough to get this team back into the playoffs. There will be no mid-season simulation this time. We are going right to the playoffs to see if we actually make it or if the rebuild is going to end with one playoff appearance where we lost in overtime. That is what I am talking about. We managed to make the playoffs and win the division with an 11-6 record. We have the number 4 offensive points per game and the number 9 defensive points per game. That is amazing to see. We're the 3rd ranked offense overall and the 16th ranked defense. And despite being a 78 overall, Stafford comes in and goes for 4,400 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. On the ground, Kyren Williams just ran for 20 touchdowns in a single season. And then receiving Puka Nacua, 1,300 yards and 15 scores. Tutu Atwell caught 7 and Terry McLaurin got 7. Moving on to our rookie tight end, he ended up catching 4 touchdowns this season. Kyren Williams caught 3. Now let's see what happened on defense. Ernest Jones once again led the team in tackles, but DeMarcus Lawrence comes up with 14.5 sacks. Russell Corbett got 8.5, and interceptions. Tre'Davious White came away with 6 this year. But now it is time to jump into the final playoffs of this rebuild and see if we can't make some sort of ridiculous run. Well, we will get to jump into this game where they face a 4th and 10 with 1:40 to go. He's dropping back to pass going deep downfield. That's deflected out of the air, and the Rams should get out of here. Wait, hold on. There is a flag down. It's going to be pass interference on the Rams. That is ridiculous. I would imagine that is still Jaden Daniels as their quarterback, but their hopes will stay alive. 1:36 to go in the game. Daniels out of shotgun. Will drop back, and now he throws to the outside. That's going to get caught along the sideline, and he gets met and brought down for a 7-yard play. Now it's a 2nd and 3. Daniels back in shotgun from the 46-yard line. He drops back to pass. He throws this one to the outside as well. That's caught for the first down, and he gets out of bounds. 1:13 to play now at the 42-yard line. Are we going to see another overtime game? Daniels will drop back and go over the middle to a wide open man all the way down to the 22. Running the no-huddle offense, not wanting to burn any of their 2 remaining timeouts just yet. 50 seconds to go. Daniels takes a step, rolls to the outside, under pressure, and gets sacked on the play by Josh Sweat for a loss of 5. They burn that second timeout with 46 seconds to play. Daniels back in shotgun from the 27. Will drop back. A quick throw that's going to be caught by Jahan Dotson, who is brought down to set up a 3rd and 7. They elect to not burn that final timeout. Under 30 seconds to play. He takes the snap and will run a play action. Daniels looking to take off, and he will take off, getting the first down, and will slide down inside the 10. They burn that final timeout with 17 seconds to go in the game. Daniels back with a 5-wide set. From the 8-yard line, he takes the snap, stands in the pocket. He's going to fire to the end zone, and that is just a straight-up drop. We caught a break. Now a 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line with 12 seconds to go. He takes the snap, under pressure, almost gets sacked and throws it away at the last possible second. A sack would have 100% just ended this game. But since he was able to get it off, they live to see another down. 3rd and goal. Daniels back in shotgun. Will take the snap. A quick throw to the outside, and there is nobody there. The game is going to come down to this. 4th and goal from the 8-yard line with 5 seconds to play. Daniels back in shotgun to try to extend our season a bit here. Can the defense get a stop? Daniels will drop back, and he's going to throw this one to the end zone, and that's going to be incomplete. Turnover on downs, and the Rams are going to get out of here with a win. It was close there at the end, but ultimately we end up getting the win. But now we get to face the defending Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers, who weren't even able to win their division. The Bears come in as the 1 seed, and the 7 seed Seahawks have upset the 2 seed Buccaneers, and that is why we get a home game. Well, we get to jump into a pretty shitty situation here. With 2:02 to go, we are down by 10. Stafford from his own 8-yard line will start this drive. Going downfield, that'll be caught for the first down, and it does take us down to the 2-minute warning. We only have one timeout left, so if we score a touchdown, we're going to need an onside kick. From the 22, Stafford will drop back, looking to go downfield, will throw to the outside, and that's going to fall incomplete. Actually, go ahead and change that. They would review the call and rule it a 2-yard gain, so now a 2nd and 8 from the 24. Stafford back in shotgun again, will drop back, looking to go deep downfield, rolling to the outside, under pressure, and will finally have to throw that one away, and we face a 3rd down. Stafford back in shotgun from his own 24-yard line one more time. With about a minute 45 to play, Stafford will drop back, looking to go deep downfield, under pressure, and gets rid of it at the last second, and now we face a 4th down. If we don't convert this, it is going to be game over. Our season and our rebuild will officially be done. 4th and 8. He'll take the snap and look to go downfield again. Stafford will let this one rip deep down the sideline. He's got a man, and Puka Nacua to the 47-yard line. Our very slim hopes will remain alive. A minute 37 left. In Packers territory, Stafford back in shotgun, will drop back and look to go downfield again. Dropping farther back, he's finally going to let it go, and he's going to miss a wide open, I believe it was Terry McLaurin. Now with a 2nd and 10 and a 5-wide set. A minute 32 to play here in the game. Stafford will drop back and look to go deep downfield again, under pressure, and will throw another pass away. He now faces a 3rd and 10 with a minute 26 to play, still at the Packers 47. Out of shotgun, he'll drop back to pass again. Dropping farther back again, now finally firing downfield to absolutely nobody, and it's another 4th down now. Once again, our season and rebuild would officially end here if he does not get this. 4th and 10, out of shotgun, Stafford will drop back. He's going to fire this downfield, and that's going to fall incomplete. That will wrap up this game. Well, that wraps up another rebuild without a Super Bowl win. Granted, this time I only had 3 seasons. Generally, I give myself 5 years. But we had an older quarterback, which is why I only gave myself 3 seasons, and Stafford's already starting to regress here. But at least we finally had a solid year, and we put up a decent fight against the defending Super Bowl champions, but ultimately this rebuild does end in a failure.